Good evening, Dr. Christine.
She's not in the meeting yet.
Okay, good evening, Aquira.
Good evening, Madam Eunice.
Na ninaona like ameingia ama yuko na line mingi?
Nimetumia akaunti yake.
Okay. How was your day?
It was fine.
Okay. Participants, good evening. Ama umewazima?
Good evening.
You're okay. Taking no common.
We are okay.
Why are you naming your gadget?
I changed the name to my name.
Hey.
Good evening.
How are you, Caroline?
I'm fine.
Mko wazima?
Kabisa.
Mmeshinda namna gani?
Salama.
You are logging from which county?
Kisumu.
Kisumu. Jua limewaka ama kumekaa aje?
Jua linawaka, njaa mingi, tumechoka.
It is all over. Even in Nairobi, it's very hot, very sunny, very dusty. Hunger, I think it's all over. But ni mpaka tutangangana. We must try to survive and live.
True.
Yeah, I think it is dry all over.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Maybe we can start with the preliminaries as we wait for the others to join in. It's a tiring evening, but God is faithful. We are alive and we have a reason to give thanks despite of the fatigue. Busy day, busy evening. Ni hali ya maisha, hatuna namna. Allow me to invite one of us so that we can do our opening prayer. Let us have a volunteer to do our opening prayer. Kindly remember, when your video is on, you consume a lot of bundles and sometimes you may see what you are doing. Kama huyo wa Kisumu dara, pengine hata joto imezidi aanze toa nguo za upande wa juu. So sometimes it's good you keep your video off. Jeffrey, kindly unmute yourself and pray for us.
Let us pray.
Yes, you.
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Let us pray in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Oh Lord, we want to thank you for being with us since morning. You have seen us throughout the whole day. We want to ask you to guide us as we begin our classes so that we may understand, and may your Holy Spirit be with us from the beginning up to end. We want to thank you, Lord, for this day and for the facilitators. Guide us throughout now and forevermore. Amen. Thank you.
Amen.
Amen.
May I make a few announcements as we turn to our day 3 session, that one. We informed you from the beginning that TPD program has no sitting in examinations. But again, we have the assessments. And maybe if you have been able to log to our e-learning platform, that is Kemi Virtual Campus, you might have established that we have some presentations which were uploaded and they are having a number of activities. kindly note that those activities are meant to guide you and even assist you so that you can understand whichever content has been uploaded. We therefore do not expect you to tackle the many activities that they attached to the various presentations that we have covered. Either, I remember when you were doing your first session, you were taken through by some of our facilitators who team up to offer TPD program together with us trainers in Kemi. And maybe they never mentioned to you that you are not supposed to do those many activities. And we are expecting, for the time being now, you are only concentrating with the learning reflective journals, because that is one of the key assessments attached to the TPD program. The other assessment that we'll be expecting you to tackle will come when we finish all the session, that is after we have done our 1 year facilitation. You will be expected to do a final synthesis paper that we call a consolidation paper. A paper that will do in summary what you have been able to cover. The third assessment is on e-portfolio, and I know at a given time, we will still remind you on how to develop your electronic portfolio. I have been reading through my WhatsApp groups, and they are quite a number. And many times we are unable even to respond to those messages. So far, as an institute, I think we have over 80,000 participants. And you can imagine the many WhatsApp groups that some of us we are having, depending on the counties one is coordinating. We are therefore calling for your patience. When you keep on asking the same question and maybe there is no one responding, sometimes it is good to make even a phone call. This morning, I was reading through the forum. I think that is from one of my participants from Maranga, and she was even threatening, I think it was a she was even threatening to leave, to transfer from Kemi and to get to MKU because her message is not being responded to. Kindly, sometimes it's good we be professional. Remember that one, you chose Kemi with the liaison as your service provider. And if you choose to transfer, Teacher Service Commission has given a leeway that you can transfer from one service provider to the other. But again, that now calls for much expenditure. And the reason why this lady was threatening to shift, it's because he had just asked, supposing I'm invited for an interview, what can I show to prove that I'm taking up TPD program with Kemi? Remember, in the beginning, we shared with you a Google link where you are supposed to register. And it is after compiling that list that we do share with Teacher Service Commission, our participants, and every other service provider is doing the same. What am I saying? That one, if maybe you are struggling to log in to Kemi Virtual Campus, maybe from the beginning, you never responded to the Google form that we shared. If you responded to that Google form, it means therefore you are a registered participant to undertake TPD with Kemi, And likewise, even Teacher Service Commission is aware. And each and every day, we keep on updating Teacher Service Commission on our enrollment. So kindly let us avoid threatening message in the WhatsApp forum. Let us be patient because, again, I want to say this is a program that we began last year, meaning we have many other programs that we do take up. And personally, sometimes even reading those messages, I read them in the evening, and some of them, because they have been responded to earlier, I do not keep on repeating. So please, walimu, ni vizuri tuelewane. So far, so good. I may not have a recap for yesterday's lesson because, again, I'm seeing we have spent like 15 minutes, but we are aware that yesterday we had a very interesting session on health literacy and health education. And even as I was reflecting later in the evening, I didn't hear, or maybe it is the point came out when I was off and on, and it was the element of some of the challenges that our learners in secondary schools are encountering in view to identity crisis. And this is more so with our Form 2 students. Remember, adolescence comes with many changes. There are those boys and girls maybe from single parenthood. There are those who have lost their parents. And maybe when adolescence now creeps in, they start struggling with identity crisis. And it is therefore prudent that teachers will do assist our students so that they can be able to cope up with such crisis. I remember also someone mentioning in a group that I was in view to getting the medical cover, that it's the Edu Afia, and it is good that I announce that one, you who is teaching in secondary, you need to guide your school manager. Anytime they enroll a newcomer, let that student have the NEMIS number, because again, the Edu Afia cover that it's offered to our secondary school student, it is attached to the UPI number that our students are having. It is therefore necessary anytime you receive a new student, maybe a transfer case, that student must have a NEMIS number so that when he or she gets sick, she can be treated in our government hospital. Again, the cover comes with a send-off. In case a student passes on while in the school, that cover caters for funeral services. I also thought maybe wise to indicate that we have so many students who are sexually abused while in school, and we are aware that issues to do with homosexuality, issues to do with lesbianism are very common in our secondary schools, and even in some of our primary schools. And we are therefore saying that if we can strengthen our guidance and counseling department, we can be able to assist our learners who could be suffering in our hands. It is also very key that we remind ourselves that corporal punishment, again, it's also making some of our learners even threaten not only to leave schooling, but also to commit suicide. we are aware, and we have even seen it through the media, that we have some teachers and even deputy principals and even principals who are still caning our students in an awkward manner. I remember at one time, sometimes back, we also it in the media where even Alana was taken to a morgue, to the hospital for treatment. And later on, it was like that student was hit with a blunt object by maybe, I don't know, and she passed on while in school. We are therefore saying, kindly let us ensure that we offer conducive environment for learning. We are in day 3. I am not able to establish whether my colleagues have joined, but I'll keep on checking. But as I wait for them, I can begin our presentation. That it's on day 3.
Madam Eunice, maybe you just allow me to say hi to the participants.
Aha, you are in, eh? Karibu.
Yeah.
I didn't you in.
I've been following your discussion.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Yeah, thank you very much for coming in time. I actually wanted to introduce Madam Eunice because she's solely going to take us through school emergencies and safety. And she's an expert in this area. So I believe we are going to enjoy the session and enjoy the learning. So thank you very much, Madam Eunice, and welcome, and continue with the session.
Thank you, my sister. I hadn't known you are in. I would have definitely given you a chance even to greet our participants after a wonderful, wonderful presentation that you covered last evening. We are in our day 3, where we will share about school emergencies and safety. And we are aware that all of us as school managers, our concentration, it's more on the provision of quality education in our schools. And when we think that we are there so that we can provide quality education to our learners, many a times we forget that for our learners to be able now to benefit from that quality education, we need to look at the enablers in the environment, which again will encourage our learners to learn easily and effectively. We are saying, therefore, even as we keep on teaching, we must be very mindful of the social and creative learning environment, because again, as we were mentioning yesterday, a learner may be eager to concentrate in the class, but he or she could be suffering either from ill health or even emotional challenges. We are therefore saying that sometimes there are even the risk situations that can come out of maybe creation of those within the school environment or even by the learners. We are therefore saying, because we are there to guide our learners, we must ensure that we keep on equipping them with all the skills that can come along in view to ensuring that the school environment is safe and protective. This evening, we will share experiences about the emergencies within our school setup so that we can ensure that our learners and even the staff within the school environment are safe. By the end of our presentation, I am expecting that we will be able to demonstrate understanding of emergencies that can occur in a school setup. Equally, we will be expected to demonstrate understanding on how to respond to emergency situations within our schools. We might not practically practice the principles of first aid in schools because, again, this is just a session within 2 hours, but hopefully later on, between today, tomorrow, and the day after, we will be able to practice some of the principles of first aid. But definitely at the end of the session, we will be able to appreciate the role of the teacher in dealing with emergencies in our schools. As usual, we will employ our KW processes of learning or even of facilitation, where in preparation for undertaking our topic on school emergency and safety, we are going to break into a number of groups so that we can share about skills, knowledge, and attitudes that we already know individually in view to school emergency and safety. Likewise, we will share about what we would want to learn about the school emergency and safety. Aquila,
Yes.
I'm seeing we are 159. Wananchi leo wamechelewa, but si wengi wamechelewa. How many groups do you want to create?
10.
Maybe 10, eh?
Yeah.
10 groups.
How many minutes?
Participants, sorry. Participants, many of the times when we break to our breakaway groups, sometimes you do not respond to the prompting message that appears in your screen. And we keep on reminding us that if you find yourself remaining in the plenary room, kindly msinyamaziane. Very fast, when you move to the group, you are supposed to have a team leader and then a secretary who should take up your points, meaning for you who will be left in the plenary, as others join in, kindly guide them. Give us 10 minutes. I think 10 minutes would be okay.
Anyone who wants to take the leadership for the plenary?
Enda leta kibeti uende ulete. Jana mlinunua
Welcome back, members, to our plenary room. I'm glad that I was able to move to a number of rooms. Unfortunately, in some of our rooms, we do take like even 5 minutes before we settle. Remember, anytime when we get to our room, we need to begin our discussions immediately. I visited group 7, 9, and 10, and I would like to invite the secretaries of those groups because I established you had a healthy discussion. Other groups, you can equally raise up your hand so that you can share. Let us begin with group 10, secretary. Aquira, kindly unmute them so that they can share what they know and what they want to know about school emergencies and safety. Radian Wandida.
Hi.
Hi.
I was in group 6.
Okay.
And these were the points that we came up. We had a very interesting discussion. And most of the participants said they acknowledge that we are all prone to having emergencies in school. And they said some of the emergencies that are there. I hope you can hear me.
Yeah. We are able to follow up. That's okay, we are quite following.
No problem. Thank you. So some of the emergencies are like fires organized by students, which have become very common. That is under what we know. And they acknowledge hence the importance of having fire extinguishers in school, and also some knowledge on how to deal with a situation where we have a fire in school. The next one on what we know is that maybe during rainy seasons, or also learners tend to eat and drop pills on the ground, and hence the grounds become slippery, and learners tend to slip and fall, and hence having some injuries. And they noted hence also that like some of our playgrounds have stones and some things that can cause injuries. So they noted hence the importance of making our playgrounds safe. Also, they were asking. They also wanted to know. Let me just first finish. They also said on what we know is girls. Girls, we need to take care of like sanitary towels, provide for girls. And also like they noted that what we know is that most of us teachers, we are not trained. So hence the reason why we should be trained on first aid, and also maybe have a trained nurse on the ground, so that in case of emergencies, then they are able to handle it. And next, they say they're like utility failure. And for example, when we have blackout in schools, learners need to be guided on how to move around to avoid accidents. And also there's a participant who noted that sometimes when they are serving food, or when they are providing hot water for showering, these learners get scalded. So we need to be very careful when we are serving this to our learners. So we wanted to know, like in case of like a laboratory setting, in case there is an explosion during an experiment, what to do as a teacher. Others, when we also wanted to know, does this edu cover for the medical cover, does it apply to the private schools? And also there was a question, why is this cover not coming to the primary school learners? And also the teachers wanted to know how to effectively respond to emergencies in our school. Thank you.
Thank you. Group, that is group 6 members, kindly let us get to our reactions and appreciate them. And even as we are in the beginning, that EduCover, it's for our secondary school public students, but not private. And the reason may be why the government is not offering any cover to our primary school. We are aware that most of our learners in our primary schools, they're below age 18, and therefore, if the parents have a cover, they are catered for that insurance. Remember, again, it all has to be with the policy that it's in place. Maybe in future, there is something that can be taken to a further conversation. Likewise, along the line, I know we'll have an activity where we will share laboratory. Otherwise, the other issues are okay. I'm just wondering quietly whether some of the mentioned issues are emergencies in our schools, but you never know. This is an adult class. Let us appreciate that group. I can see we have 4 participants who are raising up their hands. Maybe we can give them an opportunity also to share. And if something has been mentioned by another member, kindly, you can just keep it to avoid unnecessary repetitions.
Hello.
Okay.
Hello,
Yes.
Karibu.
Yeah, thank you. I'm Catherine. I was leading group 1. Hello. Hope
Yeah, we can hear you, Josephine of group 1.
Catherine. Okay,
Proceed.
we managed to discuss, although we had a limited time, on what we know. We talked about hazards, emergencies that are in school. We have fire. We have inhaling of chemicals from laboratories. We have accidents while students are traveling. We have health problems when students have critical sickness or diseases. We have biological processes, especially in girls. And we have insecurity. Those are emergencies. And then now safety. We discuss on how we can safeguard fire, whereby we have fire points where students can gather. And also we have fire extinguishers everywhere in school. And then we have, we make sure that the doors are supposed to be open, all rooms, including classrooms, that we leave the doors open for in case of an emergency, and the other measures, other safety measures. And then some members wanted to know on how we can observe and detect an emergency, and also how can a teacher help to extinguish fire in case there's fire and the fire extinguisher company is far. So how can a teacher help to do that? And then the last one that we want to know is that, do the government cater for sanitation in secondary schools? Thank you.
Thank you, Group 1 participants. Members, can we appreciate them? I'm trying also to catch base with what cause of the school emergencies, I think have been mentioned. Let us usher in some 2 more participants so that we can begin our session together.
Hello, Group 7 here.
Hello.
Group 7.
Yeah, Karibu.
I'm Mary Goge, and I was the secretary in Group 7. We came up with some points about the types of emergencies that are there in our schools. Some have been said, like fire outbreaks. We also came up with drowning. There are some schools where we have swimming pools, and some learners might drown in the swimming pool. So we know that they are there. And so we also have burns. Children can get burned, choking. They can get choked when they are eating. They also can insert things in their nose and their ears. You'd like to know how to cater for the those emergencies. We also, there are some schools where we have floods. After some rainy seasons, there are some floods. We also have riots in some schools. We also have some wild animals which can bite our learners in school, like the snakes, other wild animals like the dogs, the wild dogs. We also would like to know how to go about it. We also have the lightning. Lightning in some areas, we have lightning which is a threat to some areas. We also have the wind blowing the roofs of the school. That is another emergency. How to go about that? We also have the stray bullets. We also have injuries from falls. Children, when they are playing, the learners might fall down and get some injuries. Others are shocks from electricity. Those are some of the points that we came up with. And so the members also wanted to, can you hear me?
Yeah, we are.
Okay. So the members came up with some points on how to respond to these emergencies. One, the teacher is supposed to stay calm. Others would like to know how to administer, how best to administer these emergencies. We also said that the teachers would like to have the emergency numbers of some medics and nurses so that they can call the medical practitioners and nurses. In the school, we would also want to know whether we can have some schools, we can have some fire extinguishers in case of fire outbreaks. Also, we would like to know how to respond to or in making our environment safe for our learners. Then we would like to know how best to how to detect these emergencies when they are coming. Those were the points that we came up with in Group 7. Thank you.
Thank you, Group 7 participants. Maybe we can appreciate Group 7 members. And I thank those who have done their presentation. Because of time, we may not listen to other groups. But I want to say that one, if we were all keen, we can tell that we are not beginning from nowhere. Most probably, as we'll establish later, it's like many of us ended up listing examples of the emergencies situations that we face in our schools, and that is in order. And a few have attempted to actually identify with the topical area that was under discussion on what you know. And I'm happy about those who cited that, for example, emergencies is a crisis. It is a disaster. It is an occurrence that just comes unexpectedly, and often it is a dangerous situation requiring an immediate action. Remember, when you are identifying the skills, the knowledge, and the attitude that you want to express, there is a likelihood of giving an example. And we are addressing this topic because again, we want to minimize and even eliminate risky conditions or even threats that can cause accidents, bodily injury, as well as emotional and psychological distress, not only to our learners in school, but also to the teaching and non-teaching staff members. And once we are able to minimize those risky conditions, at the end of it all, we will be able to provide learners with the opportunity to achieve their potential while reducing those risky factors. And like yesterday, we were able to identify with some of those risky factors. For example, we have the drug abuse, we have the dropout of school cases, we have violence, we have discipline problems, etc. And I have keenly noted down on part 2 of our discussion what you'd want to learn. And may I say that in our day 4, that is tomorrow, we will be able to cover a topic on management of injuries and the many statements that have been shared of wanting to know about how to handle an emergency maybe will be covered tomorrow. In our day 5 again, we will be able to walk through the topic on fire safety, and equally, we will share more light on how to tackle fire emergencies. So far, so good. And we can say the definition of school emergencies, referring to a situation that poses an immediate risk to health, life, property, or even environment. And that's why maybe we'll be able to give some examples of illnesses that can be treated as an emergency in our school. We can have the risky conditions that also causes injury. Other times, it can even cause death to our school community members. Other incidences, like maybe fire, can destroy property of the school. Someone also mentioned about the wind blowing heavily and maybe also causing an emergency to the school environment. And we are saying at school members, we require an urgent intervention to prevent a worsening condition as a result of any emergency that may occur in our schools. We need to react very fast so that we can be able to mitigate and, if not possible, also prevent the aftermath that can occur after an emergency has occurred. For any incident, maybe which have been mentioned, to be regarded as an emergency, it should conform to one or more of the following. That one should pose an immediate threat to life, health, property, or even environment. The incident also causes loss of life, health, detriments, property damage, or even environmental damage. Likewise, that incident must have a high probability of escalating to cause immediate danger to life, health, property, or even environment. We are therefore saying that either one of the three may occur or even two conditions. We usually classify emergencies in our school environment into three categories. One, we have a classification of emergencies, which causes danger to life, others danger to health, and three, dangers to environment. Where maybe emergency causes dangers to life, we are saying either the school community members get injured, suffer, both physically or even emotionally after a result of an emergency. When we are tackling emergencies classified to causing danger to health, maybe we can cite examples where, and I think it was mentioned, when it is raining, the ground becomes very slippery. A learner can fall down and maybe get injured. We have even seen our young ones in primary schools many a times falling down from a tree. We have had cases where maybe students get some asthmatic attack during a lesson presentation. When emergencies causes dangers to environment, of course, we are aware that the environment that we are living, if it is endangered, again, that will affect the school community. We may not go to our breakout rooms, but I will request, because we cited some examples of emergencies that do occur in our school, we can tip up the list that was mentioned. Maybe Aquira, I can request you to unmute a few who could be raising up their hands so that they can respond to question number 1.
Salome.
We have the members who are raising up their hands, like Salome, Achieng. Kindly unmute and give examples of emergencies that can occur in a school. I'm sure you had listed a number.
Yes, there are some which can occur in the school. For example, when the learners are playing, then they injure one another. Then, secondly, when there is a strong wind, which comes especially in dry areas, which comes.
Oh, sorry, my sister, may I cut you short? When you mention an example, kindly respond to part 2 also, the actions that we can take as teachers to address the emergency that you are citing, so that we can do the 2 questions together. Thank you.
Okay. With that one, to respond to the emergency of the wind, I feel that the school should be having a tent nearby, so that for that emergency, for children not to forego learning, they can have a shelter there. Then secondly, when they play, when they injure one another, I think the school should have a first aid kit, and they should have somebody who is well acquainted with that particular first aid. And then we have like nose bleeding. Also, we need to have somebody who can help that particular student. Then we have natural calamity like earthquake. I think that one is beyond. The only thing is to assist the learners to move out of that place. But I think it might be very fast. Then we have the floods. Floods also, I think that, I don't know whether there is any help which we can give at that particular moment. But I think it is just to ferry those children. But in advance, the children should know how to swim, so that when there is flood, they can escape it. Then when there is theft and robbery and also fire outbreak, I think the school should have an emergency kit. I mean the finance, whereby in case there is such, they are able to come in very fast. Then we have the outbreak of diseases such as cholera, tuberculosis. I think the school should observe the cleanliness. That is the most important thing. And in case of any outbreak, the learners should be rushed to the health facility. So, and then the last one is children fainting. Some of them faint because they have stress, some of them because they are sick. So the teacher or the school management should be able to see how they can curb that particular problem accordingly. Asante.
Thank you,
Hello.
thank you. Yeah.
Hello. I want to contribute also, and I want to mention
Very
only one.
much in order.
I want to mention one emergency, so that my colleagues also contribute to other emergencies. And the emergency that
Very
I want
much
to
in
mention is fire outbreak in a school. And in case of a fire outbreak, we have fire extinguishers around. I think learners are supposed to be trained on how to use fire extinguishers, so that is the first emergency that they can take to save the situation. Also, we have assembly points whereby learners are supposed to be there with an alarm indicating an emergency or fire outbreak. And also, finally, to train learners in case of fire emergency, they should cover their mouth and noses, maybe using what they have at that moment, maybe their sweaters or their jumpers or even their vest, so that they don't inhale the smoke as a result of that fire outbreak. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I also want to contribute.
Yeah.
Are you hearing? Yes.
We are hearing. We are hearing.
Yes, I have identified two emergencies. One is maybe when a stranger comes to school and attacks the teacher or even one of the administrators, like the case we had sometimes in a school in Baringo, where a stranger just went straight away to the principal's office and attacked the principal with a hammer. So in case of such an emergency, or to prevent such emergencies, I think the security checks at the entrance of the school should be done thoroughly, and anybody who looks like a suspect should be escorted to maybe wherever the person they want to meet, so that in case of anything, they can be the person being attacked can be assisted. Secondly, is on the issue of a student attacking a teacher. Maybe when such an issue occurs, for a school to prevent such, the school and the teachers and the learners should try to maintain an harmonious working environment, so that they can be able to avoid such an occurrence. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Remember, maybe I can most our schools have no fence, other schools have no gates, and maybe for an attacker to get to the school may have taken advantage of a school having no fence, that we should ensure that we are teaching in an environment that is safe, but by ensuring that the school has a fence, a perimeter wall, or whichever kind of a fence, so that now the security can be in place. I also thought of also reacting to the issue on fire extinguisher, and maybe I would urge all of us tomorrow in the morning when you get to your school, kindly check on the
Madam Eunice, your sound is breaking.
Date of the fire extinguishers in your schools, because the
Madam Eunice, your sound is breaking.
Hello?
Your sound is breaking. Madam Eunice.
Sorry, I think it's the challenge, but I still keep on hoping that
Let us wait, she joins back. Please let us wait. She's experiencing
I'm sorry, my internet is misbehaving. Let us hear an example from somebody else. I'm sorry about it. Aquila.
Yes.
Let us give other a chance to someone else also. I hope Dr.
Yes, hello.
Yeah, hello.
Yes, I'm Catherine. There's a common emergence that we have forgotten.
Okay.
It is about collapsing of buildings in schools.
Yeah.
And I think that we can, when that one happens, we can be having some students that we have trained as on Red Cross activities. And then we can be having emergency numbers from Red Cross members in the country, and also from the hospitals that are near, so that when such happen, they can come and rescue the students. Thank you.
Akinyi, Mary, kindly unmute yourself and speak.
Thank you. I want to share one point here. In case of emergency of chemicals, swallowing chemical, what needed to be done is to take milk or raw egg, and then it's also depend on the type of chemical. If it is a base, you neutralize it with a weak acid, and if it's acid, you neutralize it with weak base. Thank you. Hello? Hello?
Yes.
You get me?
Yeah, we are getting you.
Okay.
Thank you. That one of an egg, I didn't know. Yeah, thank you. So far, so good. The list, it's long. And these are examples of the emergency situations in our school: floods, strong winds, lightning, food poisoning, slippery floors, sharp objects in the playing field, and also in some of the dormitories. I have ever witnessed such. Motor vehicle accidents, chemical explosions, bullying, attacks was mentioned, corporal punishment, drug overdose was mentioned also, weather, issues to do with strong wind that sometimes even blows away the iron sheets in our primary schools. Fire was mentioned, natural disaster, hazardous materials, utility failures, I think it was mentioned, power that it's blackout, a sewer maybe can break, water lines still can fail. We have infectious diseases, it was mentioned, like cholera, human-centered violence, sometimes even teachers among teachers do fight, students versus teachers fight, air pollution episode, chemical spill, threat of explosion, criminal act, bomb scare, falling aircraft, it has happened, wind run fire, sorry for the repetition. We have had issues of missing learners in our schools, riots, either civil disorders that is inside the school or even civil disorders outside the school, severe windstorm threatening individuals, earthquake, lightning. The examples are very many, and I know maybe if we would have more time, we can still add to that list. The emergencies that we have given as an example, maybe if they have occurred in your school, I'm sure you are able to sail through. We have a number of specific educational needs which must be addressed to ensure access to safe education. And as I said earlier, we may not have time to practice, but we are saying when such occurrences happen, we need to assess the situation and choose the appropriate response. Maybe if it is a fire that has started, how fast can you respond? And how fast you need to respond will be determined by the assessment that it's done immediately after the fire breakout. Number two, when an emergency occurs, of course, you need to respond within seconds. Many of the times we are required to notify appropriate emergency respondents and the school crisis response team. We need to evacuate or even lock down the school as appropriate. We need to access the injuries and provide emergency first aid to those who need it. Again, we need to identify a location where emergency services can be accorded to those who have been injured. Likewise, we need to communicate accurately and appropriately by giving the right information. Remember, sometimes we do panic when emergencies occur, and the panic sometimes can even create fear among the learners. I remember sometimes back when I was teaching my early years in school, one evening got scared over an information that was being passed from one dorm to the other. And the notice was written by a young girl who was prophesying that either the school principal was a devil worshiper, and within that given night, she was to sacrifice a number of students, and the letter even had quoted that 30 students would get serious injuries, and I think 8 were to pass on. And when that message was read past midnight by the girls who had that information, the whole school started screaming, and all of them were running for safety. And within the process, many of them were injured by their boxes as they were getting out from the dorm. And by the time they were getting to the gate, the watchman had even called the police officer, and no learner was allowed to move out of the school compound. What am I saying? That sometimes how we communicate an emergency can cause harm. Finally, anytime we have an emergency, we need to do documentation so that if maybe a fire incidences has occurred, you record how it began, how many learners maybe were injured, and what first aid was accorded to those learners, so that maybe if there are injuries that have been attended, if they can be referred for further treatment, whoever is handling those cases can be able to make a follow-up from what has been offered previously. Yesterday, we were able to deal with this concept of school safety, and we are equally reminding ourselves that we are dealing with the school safety more so that we can be able to have a conducive learning environment where we can minimize body injuries to our community members of the school, where we can minimize accidents, and where we can be able to handle the emotional and psychological distress of the school community members which occur as a result of an emergency. Remember, again, we are aware that some accidents can even lead to disability.
Participants, let us wait for Madam Eunice to come back.
discovering anytime somebody is making a call, my internet is disappearing. I have no power and I'm
Yes, Akini, you can ask a question.
Yes, thank you. I want to ask a question as
Is
we wait.
Dr. Christine in?
She's about to get in.
I don't know what is happening. My internet is very unstable tonight. We are saying that the school safety aims a safe, secure, and caring environment that facilitates and enhances quality teaching and learning processes in all schools in our country. More specifically, the school safety provide opportunities for our learners to exploit and maximize potential for learning, growth, and development, opportunity to participate in enhancing school safety, opportunity to empower the school community members, also minimize the risk, and again, to provide first-line emergency services to learners and staff who become victims of injury or are taken ill. Again, safety issues, counsel, guide, and advise learners and staff on issues relating to school safety. It empowers the school to liaise with the school community and even other stakeholders in order to increase awareness about issues related to school safety. Finally, it also forges alliances and networks that enhance school and child safety. And that's why we even mentioned, I think it was yesterday, that our learning institution and community linkages is a very prudent element within a school because, for example, either a dispensary, a hospital that is within the school vicinity, if there is a harmonious relationship, anytime there are emergencies issues, the health workers can respond immediately. And that's why we are saying building of social networks between our schools and also the community is very beneficial in order to ensure the safety of learners and staff. We are aware that we can Google and read about the safety standard manual that has been prepared by the Ministry of Education. And this manual has 13 safety standards that I will encourage all of us to go through so that we can remind ourselves. And one of the standards is on how best we can maintain our school ground. We remember again, we need a learner who can be in a safe playground. Number 2, issues to do with physical infrastructure. They're in standard number 2, that is on safety in physical infrastructure, where we are saying we need to mind about the classrooms, the laboratories, the dormitories in view to infrastructure to ensure that they are safe. Maybe where we have special needs learners, again, we need to be mindful of the infrastructure in place so that we can ensure we have ramps to ensure that those learners with physical disabilities, they are safe in our school. Standard number 3 is on health and hygiene, safety. Again, the school environment needs to nurture positive health in order to protect, promote, and improve health for all those members who are in a school environment. The other standard is on safety in school environment. Again, it is also key that the school environment should be safe for all the members within the school. Safety issues, again, how we handle discipline of our learners tells much about their being safe while in school. There is also a standard number 5 on food safety. Again, it is also very necessary for our school managers to enable accessibility to safe and wholesome food, where we ensure that there is a provision of a balanced diet in our schools. Where we have provision of food, again, we are minding about proper physical and also intellectual development of our learners. Safety standard number 6, again, is drugs and substance abuse. And of course, we are aware that in some of our boarding schools, our girls are hiding drugs in their hands. When they comb their hair, they tie with the hairband. Sometimes they hide drugs there. And we have the tiny drugs that it's chemicals that are in place, where someone is supposed to take 1 tablet monthly. And what our girls are doing as they leave home, they swallow the monthly dosage while at home, and they tie those 2 tiny drugs, ficha hapo kwa tita ya nywele, wanafunga vizuri, and opening day, we are there searching from their boxes whether they have drugs without knowing that wanabeba madawa yao kwa kichwa. In the evening, as they remove the hairband, wanatoa dawa zao. In the morning, likewise, wakichana wanafunga beginning of the month and swallow the next dose. After that, shule inafungwa, and we have much in view to drugs safety in that standard. The other standard is on safe teaching and learning environment. Again, we are aware that as we teach, the school should provide teaching learning aids so that the learners can be able to practice and also to be equipped fully through proper pedagogical skills. Standard on social, cultural environment of the school. Again, remember, every school accommodates learners from varied backgrounds, various beliefs, both religiously and also cultural differences. And when they intermingle again, many of the times that we need to address issues to do with the school policies so that it can accommodate the cultural practices and beliefs of learners from varied backgrounds. There is a standard in view to the safety of children with special needs, that it's learners with disabilities. Again, we are saying that we need to ensure that school infrastructure, again, caters for the learners with special needs, so that while they're in school, they can be saved from any form of physical, emotional, and even sexual abuse, and also neglect from either the teachers, the parents, and also from the community at large. Remember, we must ensure that we are conversant with the requirements of learners with special needs so that we can be able to address their issues. The other standard is on the safety against child abuse. I think I have mentioned homosexuality, lesbianism. Data has increased in our schools, and we have guidelines on how to handle sexual issues within our school community. A standard on transportation safety. Again, we are aware of the directives of ensuring that our school buses are painted yellow. Of course, we have the regulations that school buses should be on road from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., etc. Need also to hire drivers who are competent enough to transport our learners in our schools. There is equally a safety standard on disaster risk reduction. Need to be aware what we can do to prepare ourselves from emergencies that may come as a result from a disaster in a school. Again, we have a standard on school community relationship. Kindly ensure that this relationship is enhanced, because again, the school requires the community, the school likewise has something to offer to the community member. At your own free time, please Google and download the Safety, Health and School Manual from the Ministry of Education so that you can read further. Our next topic is on the concept of first aid. We are aware, as a result of any emergency in our school, we need to offer first aid. And the reason why we offer first aid to a casualty is either from preventing the injured person from further injuries or even to cure. First aid emergencies generally happen unexpectedly and can be distressful if the person who is offering that first aid is not well prepared. And we do assume that most of us can be able to offer first aid services until when an emergency is occurred, you realize you are of no help. And we are therefore calling upon ourselves that by the end of this week, as we continue engaging one another on this session on how to offer first aid to various casualties, we will be able to practice so that at the end of it all, we can share the knowledge we will have acquired, even with our learners, because school community members need to know how to offer first aid so that they can promote a safer and healthier environment. Remember, many of the times our learners experience accidents in our schools, and these accidents might lead to simple injuries, other times serious wounds, fractures, and it is crucial, therefore, that tomorrow and the day after, we equip ourselves with some of the first aid tips. May we have one person read through this case study so that we can respond to the queries within our plenary room. Aquira, the first person, should be given a chance. Esther Maina, you have been raising your hand from the beginning. Esther Maina, unmute yourself kindly and read for us the case study.
Yes, case study. Mr. Ojwang was having a busy afternoon preparing his Form 4 student for the soon to be written chemistry practical examination. The students were enjoying every moment as Mr. Ojwang made the concept easy to grasp. Suddenly, a sharp cry was heard from the back near the locked emergency door. This was followed by commotion and shattering glass as test tubes and measuring cylinders landed on the concrete floor. Ben, one of the learners, could be heard crying out aloud that his eyes were hurting. As events unfolded, it became clear that Ben had splashed hydrochloric acid into his eyes. Questions: How could knowledge on first aid help in salvaging Ben's eyes? B. Who needs basic knowledge in first aid? Mr. Ojwang, learners, or both? Why? C. What is the level of emergency preparedness in your school? Thank you.
Thank you, Esther Maina. Benedette, I can see your hand is up, but let's begin with Martin Ouma. Martin Ouma, kindly respond to question part A.
Yes, the question part A is asking how could knowledge on first aid help in salvaging Ben's eyes? So if both the teacher and the students had knowledge on first aid, they could give the first service. For my case, I would use the distilled water to wash the eyes. Thank you.
Ben, thank you very much. Remember, earlier on it was mentioned issues to do with laboratory emergencies that can occur, and Benedette says clearly that if it was him who was in that laboratory, he would have used water, and I think that is correct. Akinyi Mary B. Akinyi Mary, kindly unmute yourself.
Yes. Thank you. Who needs basic knowledge in the first aid? Mr. Ojwang, learners, or both? For this case, I think both need first aid. Why? Because in such cases of emergency, if Ojwang may be far and may be overwhelmed with the situation, if the learner knows how to do first aid, the learner can do it to himself or herself. And also, Mr. Juan can act fast because maybe the person who is now a patient in this case may be in a condition that is alarming. So Ojuang also can act and to help the person who is injured. Thank you. So both need to learn, to have basic knowledge about first aid. Thank you.
Yeah, you can unmute and add something to that part B. Thank you. Thank you, Akinyi. Let us have additional points why both the teacher and the learners needed basic knowledge in first aid.
Can I go ahead?
Yeah, you can contribute, Karibu.
Thank you. Basic knowledge on first aid should be known by both the learner and the teachers. This is because as when it comes to the one next to the one who is injured, if it is a teacher or a learner, they can help, or he or she can help the learner as fast before waiting for the teacher to come in and assist, as long as they know the basic rules for the first aid. Another thing, I noticed that the emergency door was locked. It is always ideal to always open the emergency door, and that is why they are there as emergency door. They should not be shut. So in case of emergency or accidents like that, they can leave the door. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. That is Sylvia. Esther Njogona, you have something to add? Unmute yourself.
Yes, I wanted to add on part B, and I would say that if the teacher is not around at the moment, then the lab assistant, who is supposed to be with the students throughout, should attend to the students. And in case there is no distilled water and the taps are running, I think it would be good that the students or the learners' eyes are washed with this cold running water. Also, if I would answer part C, the level of emergency preparedness in my school, I would say that the level of preparedness in my school is extremely low, because most of the time we do not have water. And if we have water, then the water is very dirty, such that you cannot, this learner cannot use the water to wash his eyes or to wash her eyes. And therefore, it may be very difficult for whoever is around there to assist this learner who has been injured at that particular time. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Sylvia, Nosim. Esther Njogona, Esther, you have spoken.
I have spoken. I have spoken.
Yeah, members, I hope you are appreciating. Aquila, you can assist me in enabling those who are raising their hands to unmute themselves. Sylvia?
Okay, thank you. Thank you. I was thinking on who needs the basic knowledge in the first aid. Both the teacher and the learners needed to have the knowledge on the basic first aid, because if this was the case, if this student knew the basic first aid that he should do once he spills something like now the acid that he had spilled on his eyes, instead of causing the commotion that he had caused, the first thing would have to quickly open the tap and maybe splash his eyes with running water, other than now causing more drama, because he did not know what to do. He just cried and could not do anything, and now on top of it, now there was more commotion as the students got scared and now began shattering glasses and test tubes on the floor, causing more unsafe scenario. That is my take.
Thank you, Silva. And I hope we are able to direct our responses within the case study. Yeah, this is a Form 4 class. Karibu, whoever is speaking. Yeah, Karibu.
Okay, this is Philemon. I'd like to contribute about on this question B, who needs basic knowledge in first aid? Mr. Juang, learners, or both? Okay, I'd like to say that all the participants in that first aid scenario need to have information on first aid. For instance, the learners need to know how to conduct themselves in the case of an emergency. Knowledge on first aid, I happen to teach first aid in home science, and one of the things that is expected for good first aid practice is to have the learners also, the other people in the scene, behave in a certain manner. Like for instance, the learners should not crowd around the victim of the injury that has taken place. Crowding around a victim would subject that victim to loss of air and things like that. Also, they need to be cool, calm, and controlled. The person who is going to conduct that first aid needs to be calm and controlled so that they do the right thing, they don't rush, they don't worsen the condition. Lastly, I'd like just to also point out, like the previous speaker, on the level of emergency preparedness in school. Most of our schools, like my school, you find the lab does not have what is known as a first aid kit. There should be a first aid kit that has a number of items which can be used in case of such emergencies. The emergencies do not what do we say, advertise themselves or invite themselves to come, they just occur. So a first aid kit is also important in ensuring that such a victim can be dealt with appropriately. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let us have 2 more people responding to part C, and more so those teaching science subjects. Considering this is a Form 4 class where a student cannot even respond appropriately, the teacher too hapo naye pia amezubaa tu darasani. Faustin, Zipporah, Kibe, unmute yourself. I can even see Wycliffe.
Yes, this is Wycliffe.
Yes, good evening.
Evening.
Good evening.
Hello.
Good
This is
evening.
Faustine Makala. Yes,
Can I
thank you
say
so
something?
much. I'm responding to section B and C.
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hello? Hello?
Proceed. Hello?
Yes, just as the other colleague has just said, I respond by saying that it is important that most of our learners, less like Mr. Juang and the learners, not just both, but all the learners should be in a position to know something about first aid. When I look at what happened to this student, if he was aware, then this panic and the scattering of glasses and all that shattering, I believe if he were aware, then a lot of this panic would have been sorted out, and maybe the learners would have not had a lot of crying and all that kind of stuff. So I believe not only Mr. Juang and the learner, but Mr. Juang and all the learners should at least have something to do with first aid, have something about first aid. Then part C of the question, morning, one of us said that the water they have in their school is very dirty. So I don't know whether it's brown in color or it's dirty. What does that mean? But I would say that most of the schools, just like my school, as we speak, I'm in a place that now we don't have water. So if we have that case or scenario, then we'd be hard hit. Otherwise, thank you.
Hello, this is Wycliffe. Can I say something?
Yeah. And participants, let us keep on appreciating those who are contributing. That it's.
Hello. Hello. This is Wycliffe. Can I say something? Hello. Hello.
Mike Benson speaking.
This is Wycliffe.
Who is speaking?
Wycliffe, can I say something? Hello, this is Wycliffe. Can I say something?
Yeah.
You can talk.
Oh, I was saying it's good you asked that teachers of science can say something. I happen to be a teacher of chemistry, and we teach Form 1s in the topic Introduction to Chemistry about lab safety. So I would expect that by the time they're in Form 4, they have an idea about what to do when such things happen in the lab. However, the reality is that they forget as they concentrate more on other areas of chemistry content. So it might be useful to keep reminding them about what is required to ensure lab safety. Now, something else is that I do agree with those who have spoken before me that both the teacher and the learners ought to be aware about safety in the lab. But in addition, I think that even the general school population, including workers in the school, should have an idea about what they might do to help in case of an emergency. And there should even be some kind of activities that happen in school just to prepare everyone for such eventuality. Now, with respect to part C, I would think that it's unfortunate that in many of our schools, things like eye goggles, things like gloves, which incidentally are a requirement in schools in America, Europe, and other parts, we don't have them here in Kenya. Although it is important that whenever students work in the lab, they should be able to wear protective gear, including eye goggles and gloves. I've seen in some of the KICD designs in integrated science, for example, that lab safety is one of the topics to be taught. I just hope that we can all take it very seriously and ensure that students are well protected. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that wealthy contribution. And you are quietly reminding us, those who teach science, that when we do our user department budget for presentation to the school management, we need to indicate the need to have those emergency kits in our laboratory. I'm sure if we had much time, we would contribute further. Thank you, Mike Benson and Martin, for your willingness to participate. I know there will be more chance as we proceed. Principles of first aid, it has been mentioned that both the teachers and even our students should be able to offer first aid, because again, this is the first assistance, or aid, or treatment that we give to casualties after an emergency has occurred. And for us to be able to offer first aids to our casualties. Again, it is important that we offer that first aid to prevent further deterioration of the condition of the health of the person that requires first aid. The responsibility of a first aider, therefore, is to help the patient by winning her or his confidence. And that's why you are not supposed to panic, because if you are offering first aid to me after an injury and you are there screaming, it shows that one, I may also equally panic and feel like all is lost. At the same time, again, the first aider must not endanger his or her life as she or her offers first aid. And that's why many of the times we are reminded that when we are offering first aid, we need to put on our gloves, and also we need also mind about our security, because you could be there wanting to help someone who again is prepared to attack you, and therefore you need to mind about your security. An example that we have dealt with ought to have come after this concept of the principles of the first aid. We have seen how Mr. Ojwang and his student Ben were caught unaware. Somebody, I think that is the science teacher, mentioned about having a first aid kit with all the content. Many of the times, even as we drive, we have the first aid kit, which has nothing inside. It's just a kit to show maybe a police officer. Likewise, in our schools, we have first aid kits, but they have no content. And we need to check whether the kits that we have in our schools have a leaflet with information about how to respond to an accident or an emergency, adhesive dressings, wood dressings, and triangular bandages, sterile iPads, safety pins, and also a pair of disposable gloves. We need to keep on replenishing our kitting so that forever it will remain equipped. We have the 3 C's that we usually use when it comes to rules of first aid. That is check, call, and care. You check by finding out what has happened and also arrange for a shelter. Call by arranging for a professional medical aid. As you offer first aid, maybe you're not an expert, you are supposed to ensure that there is someone else who is calling a person who is a specialist, a healthcare personnel. Maybe if the injuries are much, someone could be calling for an ambulance, etc. Where you adhere to care rule, you help the victim, preferably without moving her or him. And I'm sure we'll be able to engage with all and care rule tomorrow and even the day after. We need to watch a video here so that we can be in CPR, that it's the cardiopulmonary resuscitation. And we are aware that is a medical technique for reviving someone who has lost.
Madam Eunice, your screen is not visible.
Yeah.
Your screen.
Aquila,
Your screen is not visible.
am I able to, are you seeing my new share?
No.
Sorry?
No, I'm not able.
Oh, let me share again. Sorry. Let me share again and via a new share. Oh, so sorry. That's why I need you now than never. Oh, I don't know why again now I'm beginning from. Oh, sorry. Oh, we're about to, yeah. Let me have my new share. Sometimes when you miss to click on the new share, you end up sharing a video all alone. Kindly signal when I get there so that I can know. Aquila?
Not yet.
Aquila?
Not yet.
Even now?
Yeah.
Okay, let me do it again. What about now? It is opening?
No.
Hello. In this health sketch, we want to talk to you about
No.
CPR, which stands for
Yeah, it's okay now.
cardiopulmonary resuscitation.
It's okay.
We use CPR when someone has collapsed and is not breathing because it can keep people alive until emergency services arrive. Learning these simple life-saving skills is as
Let me
easy.
begin from the start, sorry.
In this health sketch, we want to talk to you about CPR, which stands for cardiopulmonary resuscitation. We use CPR when someone has collapsed and is not breathing because it can keep people alive until emergency services arrive. Learning these simple life-saving skills is as easy as ABC. All you have to remember is the doctor's ABC. D is for danger. First, look around carefully to make sure the area is safe for yourself and others before approaching. R is for response. Shake them gently by the shoulders and ask them loudly, "Are you all right?" If there is no response, you need to. S. Shout for help, as any assistance will be helpful. A is for airway. Gently tilt the head back like this to open up the airway. B is for breathing. Look, listen, and feel for signs of normal breathing. Look for normal chest movements. Listen for normal breathing sounds. And try to feel their breath against your face. Do this for no more than 10 seconds. If there is no sign of breathing, or if they are breathing in an unusual, noisy way, we need to start CPR. First, make sure that an ambulance is on its way. If you have someone with you, ask them to make the call. Putting the phone on speaker mode is useful as the ambulance service can talk you through the steps. C is for circulation. Circulation means the flow of blood around the body, and when the heart stops pumping, we need to take over this role by pushing down hard and fast on the chest. Start by placing the heel of one hand at the center of the person's chest and interlock your fingers like this. With arms straightened, press down hard and fast, letting the chest come back up fully each time. Fast means around 2 times every second. And hard means that the chest needs to go down by about 5 centimeters. This might sound a lot, but you do need to push hard for it to be effective. If you have been trained, you can give 2 rescue breaths after every 30 compressions, as this helps provide some oxygen. However, if you have not been trained or are not comfortable, just keep going with hands-only continuous chest compressions. If someone else is with you, swap over if you begin to feel tired, and don't stop until either a health professional takes over or the person is definitely breathing normally. Sometimes we can add another step. D. D is for defibrillation, which is about delivering a shock to restart the heartbeat. Some public areas and workplaces have an easy-to-use defibrillator on site called an automatic external defibrillator, or AED. Automatic means that it is the machine that decides what to do, so you can't go wrong, and it even talks you through the steps. If there is no AED available, keep going with CPR until the ambulance arrives. That's it. So to recap, remember doctor's ABC. And if you have it, D. That's D for danger, R for response. S, shout for help. A for airway. B for breathing. C for circulation. And D for defibrillation. In this health sketch, we've shown you the simple steps you can take to help someone who has collapsed, is not breathing, or not breathing normally. Why not take a training course to practice these steps? Share this video with friends and family to make sure we all know what to do. Health sketch. Health for all.
Thank you. I hope we were able to follow up so that we can learn something on how to offer CPR. I don't know whether we have, there is that teacher who mentioned that he teaches something to do with first aid through facilitation of home science. Let us have somebody share with us the steps for performing CPR. Even if it's not fully following what we have been able to see in the video. Remember, many of the times that you may have a casualty, somebody developing difficulties in breathing. Other times you want to revive someone whose heart has stopped beating. And we have the minor steps that we can undertake. Aquila, I can see we have 2 participants raising up their hands. Dorcas, kindly unmute yourself and share.
Yeah, thank you. The steps for performing CPR, number 1, we have the DRS, A, B, C, and if you have it, D. Now the first D stands for danger. As a first aider, you have to check that you are in a safe place that you can help the person injured, and you remove all the obstacles that can block you from helping. Then we have R for response. You check if the person injured can respond by shaking slightly or lightly the shoulders, or you can even call for the person, like for example, if it's Aquila, you call him, Aquila, can you hear me? Then the S is for, you shout for help. Can I continue?
Yeah, continue.
You shout for help, like you call for help from people who are passing by or anyone that you are with. And at the same time, as you shout for help, this is the time you can call for the ambulance to be on its way. Then as you observe the person who is injured, you check the airway, whether there's any object that blocked the airway, by checking if there's anything in the mouth or maybe around the nostrils. Then you check the breathing by putting like your hand, the back of your hand, so that you can feel if that person is breathing or not. Then we have to check the circulation by checking the pulse of the injured person. If the person is having proper circulation, you'll feel the pulse, but if it's not, then you can put your hands in a locked way, and you have to check you don't push them, how do you call it, this central part between the ribs and the abdomen. So you raise it a little bit higher kidogo, then you press it at least 2 times after every 30 seconds like that. And then you can defibrillate using the relevant machine if you can. I think I'm right.
Okay, thank you for much contribution. Dr. Christine, kindly, if you are still on board, share with us the registration form so that the participants can keep on signing their attendance.
Hello.
We have had,
Yeah, hello.
It's okay, Eunice, I will do that. Huh?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, hello. I just wanted to add to what the previous participant has contributed and say that CPR will really help, as we have been shown in the video. I think one thing that may have not been captured is that if it is a baby or a small child, there would be preference for that mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. We saw at the end of the video, there was that option of doing mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. For a baby or a smaller child, mouth-to-mouth resuscitation would be better, I think, because definitely for the younger children, their bones are not that well formed, and pressing too hard may injure them as well. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that contribution. Remember, again, we are not medics. We offer cardiopulmonary resuscitation because we want to save a life. And that's why the first step, you should call for help. That is either an ambulance or even the Red Cross personnel, health personnel. When you call for help from the medics, the second step, you are supposed now to ensure that you lay the person on their back so that you can be able to check on their airways. From there, you check whether the person is breathing. And if that person is not breathing, that is now when you start administering CPR. If that person is not breathing, you perform 30 chest compressions, as we saw in the video. You perform likewise 2 rescue breathing, that is breathing mouth to mouth. And then you keep on repeating until an ambulance comes for your rescue. Remember, when we are conducting that mouth-to-mouth breathing, we should ensure that the chest is compressed. I will equally request you later on, once you get the downloaded information, you watch the video once more so that you can be able to get those steps properly. And many other times, even as I facilitate this topic, I do ask myself personally, if at my age I have never performed CPR. Is it that I have never encountered a casualty that I can assist, or it's because of the fear of the unknown? And that's why we are saying, all of us, I think we need a lot of confidence when it comes to offering first aid tips. To manage a medical emergency, because they will occur in our schools at any given time, we need to be prepared that we need not be medics to be able to offer, for example, first aid tips or even practices. You may, for example, as I said earlier, discover that as you teach, a learner experiences breathlessness due to an asthmatic attack. And sometimes when we are caught unprepared, it becomes embarrassing, because even we have some people who can be able to conduct such a simple first aid. And therefore, the basic first aid skills are very important for us as teachers, so that we can be able to respond to emergencies, issues that may occur while either we are on duty. We need to be equipped with skills, knowledge, and attitudes, and more so attitudes, because again, we are calling for mindset. We must be willing to learn how to offer medical attention in view to emergencies in our schools, so that we can be able to assist our learners without panicking. And the key principles, some of them have been mentioned. One of us was able to take us through some of these principles very well. We need forever to stay calm when you want to attend to any casualty. Likewise, we need to shout for a colleague to come and assist. We need to be alert so that we can confirm whether the casualty is conscious or unconscious. Where the person is unconscious, again, that is where we are required to offer CPR. As we offer the medical attention again, it is good that we determine an appropriate degree of consciousness, so that you may know whether the person you are responding to still has a heartbeat or maybe has passed on. Again, as you offer your medic tips that you could be having, need to keep on reassuring the casualty that all is well and he will be well. I said earlier that the casualty should lie down on his or her back. Many of the times we hardly even remember that the position of the patient mattered when we are offering first aid. Assessing and monitoring the airways again are very key, because you'd be able to determine whether person is breathing well, whether there is circulation of air. You assess the breathing. Other times you may require maybe to give first aid, to give painkillers to the person that you are offering first aid. And as we said, it is good you keep on documenting. If, for instance, you offer first aid using some tablets, maybe it is good that you record so that maumivu yakizidi, it will be established that you had offered some medication. In conclusion, therefore saying that we have just touched and looked at emergencies that are likely to occur in our schools. We have not exhausted through the principles and the practices of first aid because, again, this is a lesson that will be continuing up to Friday. And it is my hope, therefore, that we'll be able to interrogate our presentation that will be uploaded in our e-learning platforms so that anytime we are called upon, for example, to offer first aid as a result of an emergency issue in a school, we can be able to offer help. Remember, as I said earlier, it's that many other times, maybe a condition worsened because of lack of knowledge. And I'm hopeful that by Friday, we will have been equipped fully to offer first aid tips to the minor and also severe injuries that do occur to our learners in our schools. Aquila, kindly take us to our groups so that we can be able to do our group processing. And when we get there for 10 minutes, kindly let us think of one thing that each of us has contributed very well to the successful of our presentation. Again, let us share about one thing that we have contributed to the group. And more so, we can share a little bit in view to how we offer first aid to various emergencies in our schools. Aquila, kindly, 10 minutes, let us go to our groups. Let us kindly share how we respond to emergencies in our schools as we discuss about the two questions. 10 minutes will be okay with that.
Hello. 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 Hello.
Hello. Yes.
Elsie.
Hello.
What are you supposed to be doing?
Hello.
Hello. What are you supposed to be doing?
Huh? Not sure.
That's what I'm saying. There is no sound. It's because you're not talking. Unmute. Then you can talk. There is sound.
We are supposed to be sharing experiences.
Okay.
How we've been dealing with first aid cases.
Mm-hmm.
In our institutions. I think that's better.
So each person is supposed to say what they have done.
Yeah, and what they have taken, how they have taken part in today's class. I think I heard that, taking part in today's class, and then how they have dealt with, I don't know, emergency cases in school.
Okay, so are we supposed to be chatting, or because it's each person for himself?
Yes, people have muted.
So does it mean that we chat?
Sorry, kindly remember we agreed if you find yourself remaining in the plenary, you can share experiences in view to how you have responded to varied emergencies, situations in your school.
Oh, okay.
Msikubali kunyamaziana tafadhalini. Let us speak to one another. Let us state how we have contributed to the success of our lesson tonight.
Hello.
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 Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Can we share experiences?
Well, hello.
Hello.
Can I say something?
Who is this?
This is Jane.
Right. Who?
Jane.
Jane, you can share your experience.
Well, there was a time during break time. I teach in a primary school. So one time during break time, one boy climbed up a tree and he fell down, broke his hand. When he was brought to me, we did some first aid. Prepared the sling and we some sort of a piece of wood, and I wrapped it. Then I wrapped it in the hospital, and then later called the parents to go and check on the boy in the hospital.
Wow.
That's how we did. But then in the assembly, we discouraged the boys from climbing up trees.
Okay. Somebody else to share their experience. It looks like we've never had emergencies, food poisoning in boarding schools, fires in the lab, broken hands, cuts in the lab. Who wants to share, please?
Hello.
Yeah, who would want to share?
Hello.
Hello?
Hello.
Yes, please speak.
Can you hear me?
Sorry?
Yeah, I wanted to ask, for example, if let's say, for example, in a boarding school where the boarding school is for girls, and a girl is pregnant, and can we count that one as a health emergency?
Okay.
Is emergency, or where do we categorize it?
Hello.
Hello, there's a question for us.
Can I answer?
Yes, go on.
Yeah, Ms. Pora, it will depend
Yes.
on the situation the girl is, such that we may call it an emergency. Because if it is just pregnancy, that is not an emergency. But if, for example, if the girl has come to the level of giving birth, that's when we can maybe support the girl to deliver, and we call it an emergency.
Okay.
Yeah.
An emergency is a serious, unexpected, and often dangerous situation. Serious, unexpected, and often dangerous situation.
Yeah.
So I think I agree with Madam.
Yeah, for example, one of our girls, she was pregnant, but she was not aware. So we knew about pregnancy when she went on labor, and actually the matron did not know she was expecting because she used to cover up so much. So when she was found in the dorm giving a birth, that when we knew that she was pregnant. I think that should be an emergency.
That is an emergency, Madam. So what did you do?
Wrong.
How did you deal with that emergency?
The girl was assisted to deliver because now she's of the matter.
Welcome members to plenary room.
But now immediately.
Hello?
Hello? Yeah, so immediately she gave birth, she was taken to the hospital now for post care. Right away.
So she gave birth in school.
Yes, it was very serious. Now I was that's where my question now comes in. When the ministry and the Bill of Children's Rights request that schools don't test students for pregnancy, maybe without their parent consent and all that. How safe is the school? How safe are the teachers staying with the children whose sexual status they are not aware? How can they be assisted with such a case like now that one that I've just mentioned? Because
thank you. We are back to plenary, and we have been listening to that sharing that is touching. Ndudu, I think it is Ndudu sharing. Members are back to the plenary room, and I'm sure those are issues that are in many of our schools where our young girls are giving birth while in school. And we are there to support them, to enable them come back very fast and continue with studies. I'm sure in our groups, we were able to share a number of experiences. Although I visited one room, nobody was talking. And we are saying kindly, when it comes to sharing, let us participate, because we keep learning from one another. I visited a few groups also. A number of you were confirming indeed that you have participated by being a chairperson, by a secretary, etc. And we are therefore, at the end of it all, asking ourselves individually, how have you participated? Remember, your existence during lesson facilitation is also very key because we learn from one another. I started by explaining to a few who are on board when we were beginning that this part of assessment, that is the reflection, it's part and parcel of our TPD assessment. At the end of 1 year facilitation, we are expecting that each one of you will be able to tackle the reflection activities on all our daily facilitation. And I explained vividly that when we are done with the lesson facilitation, you are supposed to log in to Kemi Virtual Campus so that you can indicate what you learned during that lesson, what more you need to learn about a lesson that has ended, what you liked about that lesson of the day, and then you suggest ways of improving the lesson that was covered. I did mention that in some of our presentation that we keep on uploading could be having a number of activities, and those activities are there to assist you in understanding the content that has been uploaded, meaning you need not bother respond to those activities because, again, they do not earn any marks. We have 3 key assessments for TPD program. That is learning reflective journal, final consolidation paper, and also a portfolio, meaning you will have tackled 15 reflections activity. You will do a consolidation synthesis paper, and also you will do an portfolio. Final synthesis paper and a portfolio will be done towards the end of our year 1 presentation. But for the reflections, every day lesson has a reflection, and that reflection will, at the end of it all, earns you 15 marks. The electronic portfolio that you'll develop, again, will earn you 15 marks, and the final synthesis paper will earn you 10 marks. So kindly don't labor much doing the activities uploaded. Concentrate on the reflections so that at the end of it all, you will not have a number of untackled reflections activities. If you have not been able to log in to Kemi Virtual Campus, kindly just shout by either calling an ICT personnel within the WhatsApp forum. So I'm kindly inviting you to our e-learning platform so that you can complete the reflection on day 5. And very humbled to have been your facilitator tonight. I hope we have learned something new. Back to you, Dr. Dr. Christine, are you on board? Aquera. Dr. Christine, maybe she had left. May I say that we have finished our lesson tonight. Thank you, you who have participated actively by responding to our question. You who have been a silent listener, I hope tomorrow you will contribute positively. May we all have a good night and remain blessed. Let us have someone of us doing a prayer. I'm reading through the chat box and I'm humbled by your many appreciations, and I wish all of us a good night, and let us meet tomorrow at 5:30. I have said that when you log into our Kemi Virtual Campus, every day presentation, or rather at the end of every topic, there is a reflection session, and that is where you are supposed to fill in the gaps on learning reflective journal. I have seen somebody asking where you are supposed to respond. Remember, you are responding towards a lesson that has been uploaded. Thank you, participants, for remaining on board throughout. Nani anatufungia kwa maombi? I hope all of you were able to register your attendance. Aquila, you can unmute either of the 6 participants to do our closing prayer so that we can call it a good evening and a good night.
Madam Eunice.
Let's
pray.
I was thinking to Dr. Christine.
Eunice, hold on a bit.
Hello.
Aquila, you are saying something?
We were communicating with Dr. Christine. Sorry about that. Yeah.
So let's pray. Hello.
Yeah, proceed.
Let's pray.
Sure.
Let's pray. Almighty King of all kings, we come before your presence this night. We thank you for taking good care of us. We thank you for giving us a chance to come and learn. Oh God, we pray that God, as we continue to equip ourselves in ways of helping our students, that you are going to be with us as we carry on this noble task. Please be with us, and for the remaining sessions, please be with us, and may you give us more wisdom. Bless our facilitators, bless Kemi, and we call on you. We know you love us and you have a purpose for our lives, oh God. Help us and bless our students. In Jesus' mighty name we pray and believe. Amen.
Amen and amen and amen. Thank you, my sister.
Sleep well, teachers. Sleep well, our facilitators.
Bye. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.